Hi, my name is Ruth Meed, and once again, I'm doing another interview and review for the Special Ed Homeschool team. And our program today is the IRL program, and my friend Myra is going to explain the program to us. IRL, what is that?
Well, IRL Social Skills, IRL stands for in real life. And the reason why I named this business IRL was because I noticed during my career that when I was in the schools that the service delivery model was supposed to be um, pulling students out into the most restrictive environment, into a small group, delivering a social skills lesson, and then expecting that to generalize. And it didn't, and
Right.
it doesn't. So what we teach is our awesome skills that transfer in real life.
Okay, wonderful. So I noticed it said here somewhere that you use, yeah, right here, this PEERS model. What does PEERS stand for?
PEERS is a social skills curriculum from UCLA. It is an acronym for the Program for the Education and Enrichment of Relational Skills. And it's been taught since 2006, and it's taught in 125 countries in 12 different languages. It is known as the only evidence-based social skills curriculum by the University of North Carolina's Clearinghouse for Autism Standards and Practices. So we are delighted to offer a curriculum that is highly effective and that actually works.
Okay. I always like to hear about a program that's been tested on real people and had some real results. So I noticed on your testimonials page, you've got quite um, a list of people who've found success with the program. One of the things I liked on this About page, and folks, you're welcome to look at these pages. I meant to emphasize this. If you go to IRLsocialskills.com, that's how you can find all this information. The other place you can find things are on YouTube. She's got a YouTube channel with IRL Social Skills. Let me go to the top of the page so you can see that. And the nice thing about this is there's all kinds of sneak peek interviews where you can see what's they actually offer. So little snippets of the different programs on how to do things, how to work with your child in social skills. And this is mostly for teens. Am I correct?
Teens and young adults, so age 11 and up. And it's for not just the student, but also for the parent. So the parent gets the same lesson and the parent learns the skills. And given just a little bit of coaching, parents make wonderful social coaches.
Wonderful. And I think that's one of the things that the parents are looking for on the special ed homeschool page. They're looking for a curriculum where they're not just stuck trying to figure out this whole thing by themselves. So I love the fact
Yeah,
that it sounds like your program supports the parent
absolutely.
and teaches them how to teach their child and how to interact, and then they also get to interact with other people. Is that correct?
Oh yes, like both the learner and the parents um, get to learn and practice skills with each other. Because when we have learners who have never been invited to a birthday party, never had a sleepover anywhere, and parents want to help their kids, but oftentimes parents just don't know how, and it's heartbreaking to watch your child struggle socially and not know what to do. And even if you do have good social skills, it doesn't necessarily mean you know how to teach.
Right, right. So you can find her YouTube channel. She's also on Instagram for folks who might be on Instagram, and she's also on LinkedIn for folks who are on LinkedIn. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the program, how it works. Um, is there a place I should go on the screen that would be helpful with that, or should I go back to the YouTube videos? What do you think?
um on the web page, let's go to maybe well, let's look at the testimonials page, and then
Okay.
I'll just talk about we've how we've been doing this. We have been teaching since March of 2021. My team is occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, learning specialists, direct support workers, and mental health providers. And
Wow. So that's
yeah,
Very well rounded.
It's a dream team. It's a multidisciplinary team, which is what I love because we all get to bring our own lenses, and some of us are also autistic and ADHD ourselves. Yeah.
That adds an awesome element because then you understand the students and how they struggle.
Yes, and then some of us also have kids who are on the spectrum. You know, Coach Chris has a teen and a young adult who are both autistic. And so there's that lens, you know, that experiential, you know, that felt lens of like, you know, this lived experience that really informs our teaching. And so the way the class goes is that we all start out together in the same Zoom room, okay? There's 2 coaches for the learners and 2 coaches for the parents. The first 15 minutes of class, we are learning about our nervous systems, okay? We're learning about co-regulation and self-regulation and the tools to help facilitate that. Because we, you know, humans are social, we're pack animals, and we need to know how to live together in community, and we need to know how to, you know, handle disagreements, for example. Because, you know, humans are going to have disagreements. It's just a fact. And so we all start together in the same Zoom room. We learn these skills, you know, which are considered soft skills, but they're actually, you know, hard skills, and they do take practice. And we have an emotion sensation wheel that we review. We, you know, it's really scaffolded. We teach specific things that you can do, you know, with your breath, for example, to help you self-regulate and co-regulate. Parents notice that, like, oh, when I'm regulated, that helps my child be regulated. I know, it's funny how that works. And then after the first 15 minutes, we break out into 2 separate Zoom rooms. The learners are with 2 coaches, as I mentioned, and the parents are with 2 coaches. The first class is, of course, orientation. And then after that, in the learners group, there's like a short homework review because there's homework every week for everyone to complete. So, for example, there's video chats that are assigned, in-group video chats. So it's, you know, face-to-face communication where we're practicing the skills, like ask a question, ask a follow-up question, answer your own question, find common interests. That's the mission. And then you get to, you know, cultivate conversation around those common interests. And maybe that would lead to you having a get-together, either virtually or in person, so that you
that was going to be my next question. So it kind of looks like from some of the pictures, these are actually in person, but you said you do things virtually too. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, we teach entirely via Zoom. Okay. And it's exciting because UCLA found that during the pandemic, you know, they were forced online just like everybody. And they found on several different measures, outcome measures, like, you know, assessments, self-rating scales, parent rating scales, that the results were exactly the same as compared to archival data for the classes. And on some measures, it was even better. And it was pretty exciting because, you know, we've had a theory like, oh, you know, that this could work online. And now we have proof of that concept. And there's proof of that concept, you know, across the board.
Okay. So practical questions here. Mm-hmm. What requirements or expectations does a parent have or a student? So parents, and then your equipment, your materials, those kind of things. Tell me about that.
Okay. So requirements, we want the learners to be reading within like 2 years of their grade level. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's an intellectual disability, that would require more staff than I have right now. This is a startup, you know, single shingle bootstrap startup.
Right.
And the UCLA's recommendations are for intellectual disability, it would be a 32-week curriculum versus a 16-week curriculum.
Okay.
So, you know, we're looking forward to accommodating those families, but we have to like get this program set first. And requirements, you know, if you live in the same house, we want you to each have your own device and to be in separate rooms so that there's not interfering audio.
So then the parent and the student are in separate rooms in the same house.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting concept, but yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's pretty great. Like and then you know, the homework is assigned, and then the parents, you know, we send out, we have all the class materials on our Google Drive that is, you know, protected because you're only invited to it, you know, via email. And we have the you know, the homework, the spreadsheets, the, you know, homework forms to complete. We have the handouts. We also video the learners class so that parents can actually see their student in action and then be able to like, oh, like this is how the coaches do that. And this is how they frame questions. And so parents get to learn, you know, by watching that as well.
Okay, quick question with what you mentioned there when it comes to printouts.
Mm-hmm.
So the parent needs to print this stuff out, or are they mailed a packet that's already done?
They can print it out. We don't mail it out. They can save it in you know, it's always accessible to them in the class folder, you know, the shared materials folder on the Google Drive. So they can print it out or not. It just depends on, you know, how they learn, if they like that tactile you know, sense of having a piece of paper in their hands, or if they just want to look online.
Sure. So it's their choice. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Okay. So thinking about kids with physical disabilities or visual auditory learners, any things in the program that help it to be easier for them?
In terms of physical disabilities, like, well, I mean, you know, families, they're in their environment, you know, in their own controlled environment.
Right.
So,
I'm thinking of somebody like in a wheelchair, or they might have fine motor skills or something like that.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to be using fine motor skills during class.
Okay.
You know, if they want to type into the chat, they can. If they, you know, we can use, you know, thumbs up, they can throw up an emoji. We, you know, offer different options for like, you know, our like non-speaking or low speaking, you know, intermittently speaking students. We do want them to keep their cameras on. This applies to both parents and learners, because we know that 80% of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
We need to be paying attention.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we want to know if our instruction is landing. Do we need to like, you know, present it in a different way? And yeah, so we need to get that feedback, you know, because that's, you know, because we're humans.
Right, because yeah, those of us who've been trained, you see their face and you go, oh wait, they're not getting this. I got to stop. I got to pause. I got to think. I got to say this a little different way, because yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to that. So that helps the parents know. So it's definitely, you know, interactive. Then they need to be seeing each other, and that's good. But it all is protected, so nobody else is accessing this. It's just you and the clients.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's sent out, like families have to sign off on that you know, what happens in the group stays in the group, that they're not, you know, videoing the class themselves, that they're, you know, so we, you know, and we, of course, we can't control what families do, but, you know, it's an honor system.
Right. Okay. That's helpful to know. So can we, like, just for maybe 5 minutes, do a sample interview to show people? So I'll switch off of here now.
Sure.
And I'll talk about one of my students that I had.
Okay.
And tell me how you would do an interview, so a parent gets an idea of the kinds of things that they would need to know to actually get into this program.
Great.
So hi, I've just heard about your IRL program. Tell me about it. How do you interview me? What can I do to get into your program?
Well, you know, I offer like a 15-minute free consultation for
Okay.
families. And you know, my first question is, how'd you hear about us?
Well, I heard about it from the Special Ed Homeschool page.
Hey, nice. Well, you know, we're partners, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I ask, you know, like, how old is your learner?
Okay, he's 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is he in, so he's in special education, yeah?
Yeah, he's in school. He's been in special ed programs. For a long time, they kept him in a completely self-contained classroom, but then he had a teacher who worked with him and got him so that he could start to go into regular classes. But he had lots of problems with regulating his emotions and things, and he would get upset in a minute with somebody disagreeing with him. And so, how can your program help me?
Nice. Well, the first 15 minutes of class are devoted to like teaching tools for self and co-regulation. We need to know like what is happening with our nervous systems. I mean, and we teach that. It's very important instruction. And, and it's fascinating because the students are like, wow, like this is so cool to know about myself and how I work.
Right.
It's self-study. And so that's a vital component of our program. And that's not part of the peers curriculum. That is our own design and what sets us apart from, yeah.
So what do you need to know from me as a parent in order to enroll in your program?
Well, first I want to know the strengths of your child.
Memorizes anything, won the spelling bee in school, loves the details and the facts of stuff. He can talk your ear off about something that he's really interested in. And yeah, so
he can share a lot of information. He's an expert on his preferred topics, his passions.
Right.
Yeah. And in that case, however, like, that's really cool. If somebody else is also has the same passion, like, let's say, they're interested in World War II, and they have all this information to share about World War II. And sometimes we want to talk about something different, so we need to know like how to transition, like, oh, wait, maybe I'm being a conversation hog, because this person is looking away, looking down. They're kind of like maybe even turning their body away from me. So then that's my cue to say, oh, well, how about you? What kinds of things are you interested in? And then to listen. Listening is a very underrated social skill.
Yes.
Yes. And then, you want to find common interests. If you're trying to enter a conversation, let's say, which is a complicated social skill, you're at a party, you only know the host.
Yeah, all he does is gets right up in people's faces, like that's like right there. So
yeah, oh yeah,
work on that one too.
Yeah, not too close, and not too far. Like it's typically an arm's length distance away. Now, you don't want to be going sticking out your arm, at people and like measuring, but parents practice that. It's called proxemics. Body proxemics, where, how close is your body to someone else? Where, proprioception, where is your body in space?
Okay.
And yeah, and so it's really, we encourage video modeling for parents. That means, like when you're doing the practice, make a video of it and then review it, just like athletes review their recordings so that they can see like, oh, I did this really well. Oh, this like will take a little more work. And it's highly effective because we know that oftentimes our students have really strong off the charts visual spatial skills.
Right.
And so, and that's a very effective form of intervention, and it helps, and it helps them to like see themselves.
So do you actually record like during the Zoom call different things that they're doing, or you get them to record outside of?
Well, we do record the learner's class,
Okay.
and that is in a folder for parents and learners to review. Because we do practice, we teach the skills, we practice the skills, we assign the homework, and then for the homework, parents can also like, oh, this, the skill this week is handling bullying, and so we're gonna like videotape that, because oftentimes, our learners, the instruction is, what we've been told and what we tell is, like walk away, ignore it, walk away, tell an adult.
Right.
It doesn't work. That's ineffective.
Right.
And being effective is doing what works. And it's very cool. Like the bullying component is very cool because learners get to learn how to, make fun of, like, tease the tease, we call it. Someone says, oh, that's a babyish avatar that you have on your Roblox game. What do I care what you think?
Right.
You're not my friend,
Right.
So like and then it's empowering for them, instead of like, oh, I don't know what to say, or instead of them, like lashing out aggressively, verbally or even physically, because that'll get you into trouble.
Right.
So we teach those kinds of skills, and they're very effective, which is so fun, because it's like, oh wow, hey, cool, this works, I'm going to do more of it.
Right. So one of the other things, it sounds like we've covered most things parents would want to know. This is mostly social skills, so you're not doing academic things. I want to make sure we mentioned that. Cost. What's the cost for this?
Yeah, the cost for our flagship offering, which is 16 weeks, is $2,400.
Okay.
So that is $150 a week. And if you
I
think
have a parent right now, just to give you an idea, because I'm a client, I work as a client. I actually have a parent who's paying me over $500 a week. So you saying that only $169, that's pretty good. That's
150.
Price. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Let's just say.
Yes. Yeah.
In fact,
a lot to this. Sure.
it's an hour and 45 minutes for the learner, an hour and 45 minutes for the parent, so it's 3.5 hours a week of expert social skills instruction.
Right. So 3.5 hours, like most programs now range between $120 to $150 an hour, at least up here they do. I'm not sure what they do in your area. So that's 160, that's very affordable, $169 a week for, yeah, especially with the success level, that you end up having with kids afterwards, where they're able to be more comfortable in society and with their peers and things like that. You almost can't put a price tag on that, for sure.
It's the truth. Yeah. That's like, amen to that, Ruth, because these are the most functional skills a person can use.
Right.
Like, you need math, use a calculator. Like, you need to know how to make and keep friends.
Right.
You need to know how to handle disagreements. You need to know some, like, if you're interested in dating and romantic relationships, we want our learners to have healthy relationships.
Right. I was actually watching a video clip this last week that talked about people who get into their 70s and 80s and 90s. The most important reason why they get to that age happily is because they have those important connections and support.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. There was a big Harvard study, like a longitudinal study for like 80 years. And that, the conclusions that they drew was, the main contributor to happiness is the quality of our relationships.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It took a whole bunch of Harvard scientists to tell us that.
Right. Well, this sounds like it's an amazing program, and I certainly would encourage parents to check into this. And again, just really quick, I wanted to remind you, you can find them both on the IRL page, you can find them on YouTube, you can find them on Instagram, and you can find them on LinkedIn. And when you read the description that I have written up with the video, we'll have the links in there for you to find her as well. And thank you so much, Mara. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.
Thank you, Ruth.
And again, folks, if you enjoyed this information, like, subscribe, make comments, and that will support the Special Ed Homeschool page.
Awesome.